state your name for the record and spell your first and last name?
My name is David Shaw, S-H-A-W. First name is David, D-A-V-I-D.
Go ahead, prosecutor.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to speak really as loud as you can, okay? Okay. How are you employed?
I'm employed with the Detroit Police Department.
Okay, and what do you do there?
I'm assigned to the Special Response Team, which is the city's SWAT team.
The SWAT team?
Yep.
Okay. How long have you been a police officer?
For 13 years.
And what's your rank right now?
Corporal.
Corporal. Okay, so I'm not familiar with Detroit Police and their ranking structure. Tell me what that means.
So corporal is essentially like would be a field training officer or a trainer of other police officers. Essentially it.
Okay. And how long have you been assigned to the City of Detroit Special Response Team?
For approximately 10 years.
10 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And where did you work prior to that?
I worked on the Eastern District, which is like a Gunston and Gratiot.
Okay, so would that be a patrol officer?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So tell the jury, please, what are some of the responsibilities of a member of the Detroit Police Special Response Team?
The Special Response Team serves high-risk search warrants, usually for homicide suspects or dangerous people, and then we also do barricaded gunmen, so get domestic violence and someone barricaded in the house. They don't want to come out. Police officers will call us and we respond to that scene.
Okay. So you've had specific training when it comes to executing search warrants and arrest warrants?
Correct.
Okay. So how many, we would call this a raid. Would that be right? Fair?
That's fair.
Okay. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I just want to make sure we're talking about the same thing.
Yep.
Okay. So how many times have you executed either a search warrant or an arrest warrant?
I don't know the number off the top of my head. I mean,
give us the ballpark if you can.
Probably hundreds. I know I have 173 barricaded gunmen incidents I've dealt with.
173 barricaded gunmen alone?
Correct.
Okay.
So, and then on top of that, the search warrants, I don't keep track of that off the top of my head, but I would say more than 200. Easily. Okay.
So you've been doing this for about a decade?
Correct.
And is this the routine practice of the Detroit Police Special Response Team?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now I want to direct your attention to Friday, December the 3rd, 2021, approximately 11:30 p.m.
Okay.
Do you recall that date and time?
I do.
Okay. And did you have occasion to be recalled to 1111 Bellevue in the city of Detroit?
Yep. Got recalled for a search for a wanted fugitive. That was the recall we got. So that was the only information I got prior to getting there.
Okay. Now, when I say recall, what does that mean?
So our commander will call our lieutenant, who then texts our sergeants, and they send out a text message to our whole team that says, "Come back to the base or respond to this particular address." In this case, it was respond to this area. And once I got there, it was given more information at that time.
Okay. So I take it 11:30 at night on that Friday night, you weren't in the office itself. Would that be correct?
Yeah, that was at home.
Okay. So when you're recalled, you're always on call, but you're called to duty?
Correct.
Okay. So as a member of the Special Response Team, is it fair to say that you're always on call?
Always on call. Yeah.
Always on call. Okay. So approximately what time did you arrive at that location?
I'm usually pretty quick. That's roughly 20 minutes from my house, maybe 25 minutes before I got to that scene.
Okay. So if you got the message about 11:30, would it be fair to say you arrived before midnight?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, what type of building is at that location?
There's a large, I want to call it maybe an industrial type building.
If I showed you some pictures, would that help?
Yeah.
So we have people's 348, 349, and 351 to this witness. Sir, on the screen in front of you, can you see the People's Admitted Exhibit 348?
I do.
Okay. And what am I looking at in this photograph here?
It looks like an industrial building to me.
Okay, so this is the address 1111 Bellevue in the city of Detroit?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. And this is, I'm sorry. This is People's Admitted 349. This is the same building?
It looks to be, yes, sir.
Okay. And this is People's 351. Again, photograph of 1111 Bellevue?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you arrived, sir, tell me what you saw, your initial observations.
There's a ton of police cars initially. With this particular incident, there wasn't anywhere to set up on like a barricade gunman would be, so I kind of waited until we had more officers show up to the scene prior to making entry into the building.
Okay. So let me stop you right there. You said a ton of officers are already in scene. Was that your team members or were
No,
other officers?
There's other people. So there's, I couldn't tell you what agencies or what units were there, but it was more than just SRT.
Okay, so it's more than Detroit Police Special Response. Was it also, more than just Detroit Police officers as well?
To be honest, I couldn't tell you. I didn't see any other city cars, but there was a lot of Detroit police cars, and then as we started showing up, this was prior to making entry. Once we were in the building, there was multiple agencies, multiple tactical teams, or at least one other tactical team that we ended up running into while we were clearing.
Okay. So, sir, tell me, you arrived a little before midnight, you said, and at that point, were your team members already there?
Nope, I was the first one there. I talked with I believe it was a commander or a lieutenant that was on the scene already. He kind of gave me a rundown of what was going on, and we kind of formed a plan and waited for other guys to get there before he made entry.
Okay.
So
So you were recalled from your home, you said?
correct.
Okay. Were you wearing the uniform you're wearing today?
No, sir.
Tell me what you were wearing.
It's essentially an unmarked uniform, but it's a black tactical shirt, which allows me to apply patches to each shoulder, so I'm able to identify myself as a Detroit police officer. Then I have a heavy vest on that says police across the chest.
Heavy vest is what?
It's a bulletproof ballistic vest with heavy plates on the inside for protection from firearms. Helmet, usually a mask. At this time it's pretty cold, so I usually do wear a face covering. Also have my badge on, my rig that I use for my gun belt, and that's essentially everything's all black though, except for the police and white lettering across the chest.
And that's the standard uniform of the Detroit Police Special Response Team?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So once you met with the other team members and a plan was organized, what happened next?
We actually made entry into this building where there was a ton of officers there already.
Give us an idea of how many.
On the main floor, when we first went through the front door, there was, I'd say, roughly 20 people in there, just in the initial spot.
Just in the main entryway?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there were officers that were dressed kind of plain clothes. Some guys that maybe they're dressed like DFAT, which would be like jeans and a shirt, but a vest that identifies them as police.
What's DFAT?
It's the Detroit's Fugitive Apprehension Team.
Okay.
And there was other, like I said, other officers there that looked to be like a tactical team.
Okay. So you weren't the only special response team on the scene?
I wouldn't say no.
All right. And we've already heard testimony that this building had 3 floors to it. Is that accurate?
Yep.
Okay. So tell us, sir, what is the first thing that the Detroit Police Department Special Response Team did?
So after making entry, we started searching the main floor kind of slowly. I know we did breach 1 or 2 doors on the initial entry. There was a room right to our right when we went into the door. We had to breach a double door. We breached that one. And
Let me stop you right there. Breach, what does that mean?
we used a ram, and a manual breach is you're breaking the door when you're defeating the locking mechanism.
Okay.
And that's what we did.
So that was on the first floor of this building?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so who used the ram? Was it you or another member?
It was another member.
Okay. So describe to us what happens when you use the breach to defeat a locking mechanism.
You're essentially banging a 35-pound metal ram against the door until it opens.
Until it opens? Okay.
Yeah.
And were you able to breach that door in this particular instance?
Yes.
Okay. And what was found in that room, if you recall?
Nothing. It actually ended up wrapping around to another door. We ended up going out that door and back into the hallway that we were in, but we had cleared that room and the conjoining room before we went back out to the hallway.
Okay. Now, at some point, was Detroit Police Department's Special Response Team coordinating with other tactical units on scene?
I believe my commander was, or my sergeant. I was not personally.
That's fair.
But I couldn't. I would assume they were.
Okay. So just walk us through then where your particular team went that evening.
We started on the main floor, and we were given information that the 2 wanted fugitives went up to the second floor and never returned back downstairs. So that kind of forced our way. That kind of pushed us to the second floor.
Were other officers on the second floor already?
Correct. Yes, and that's when we ran into that second tactical team who said they had cleared the second floor. They cleared all the open doors.
Okay.
So we ended up clearing the closed doors as much as we could. At some point, somebody gained access to a ring of keys, and we were opening the closed door, locked doors with the keys.
Okay. Now, at this point in time, when the tactical units were inside the building, were there other police officers on the exterior of the building?
Yeah, there was police everywhere. I would assume. I'd be guessing at this point, but I would bet there was police on the perimeter of the building.
Okay. And you said police everywhere?
Yeah.
Were there emergency lights activated in vehicles?
I'm not 100% sure with that.
That's okay. Was it just the tactical units then inside the building at this point?
There was canine officers as well.
Canine as well?
We utilized canine officers on the second floor who checked each door prior to us opening it with the dog, and we never obviously got any hits from the dog on the second floor.
Okay. And to your knowledge, were there other teams on the third floor at this point in time as well?
I'm not 100% sure.
That's fair. Where did you go after the second floor was cleared?
If I'm not mistaken, I think we went up to the third floor before returning back down to the main floor.
Okay. So at some point in time, you and your team returned back to the first floor.
Correct.
Okay. And why did you do that?
At some point, one of my supervisors was given information that the room the wanted fugitives were supposed to be in was on the first floor. At some point, someone asked if it had already been cleared, and which they said no. So, so we went back down directly to that room.
Okay, and you were given a set of keys for that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you recall who gave you the keys?
I never got the keys. Somebody opened the door for me. I was just number one into that room.
Okay, so tell me, that suite in particular, if I told you it was suite 130, would that sound right to you?
Yeah.
Okay. That suite in particular, what's the proximity from that location to the location where you used the 35-pound ram to kick in the door?
It's on the same floor, on the same side of the building. If I had to guess, maybe 10 or 15 feet away.
Okay.
Like that.
All right. Now, at this point in time, were the Detroit Police Department Special Response Team equipped with body-worn cameras?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And to your knowledge, was yours activated that night?
Yes, sir.
Now, how long would you say that your particular team was on this location from the time you arrived to the time that you entered Suite 130?
I guess maybe an hour, hour and a half.
Okay.
2 hours tops, but I'd be guessing at this point.
That's okay.
A little.
Just an estimate. That's all we're asking.
Yep.
And during that hour, hour and a half, up to 2 hours, were other tactical teams also clearing other rooms?
Yes, sir.
Now, your body-worn camera would have a date and time stamp on it, if you know.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is going to be People's 347. I don't believe there's an objection.
No, there's not. We stipulate to the admission.
347 is admitted.
So let me just stop it for a second to confirm. This is December the 4th, 2021 at 1:33 in the morning.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this is camera from your body-worn camera?
Yes, sir.
Okay, tell us quickly, where is that camera affixed on your uniform?
I have it affixed to the right side of my chest, just underneath my magazine carriers.
Okay.
I have a lot of stuff here, but it's just a space pretty much right underneath my right arm.
We see a lot of stuff here. We're talking about the tactical vest you described?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Let me see those hands. Let me see those both hands. One person at a time. Let me see those hands. Yep. Let me see hands. Keep those hands where they're at. One hand. Little hands. Turn around. On your stomach. Get on your fucking stomach. Hands behind your head. Good. Stand up, stand up! What's your name? James. James what? Crumbley. Just one, two. Yep. Stay there. Let's talk about it. Oh, yep. Can I move? We'll move this mattress. Ready? These are yours. Those are mine. Those are mine. Put your glasses on. Look at it. Where almost. See something. Hold on. Take me in back. No, dude. Double it. Kind of double it. This is not clear. Everyone out. This is still an arrest. Out. We got double check for weapons, so we're not. This is still there.
And sir, we overheard an officer say with the double check for weapons, it's not the special response team's function to actually search for evidentiary items just for weapons?
Correct. At this point, it's more of a safety search. Before we let anybody into this room, we're going to make sure we know where weapons are and make sure they're secure before anybody else coming from the public or not from our team is in that room.
Okay. And there were no weapons located in this search?
I did not find any weapons.
Okay. But an actual search of this location will be conducted by members of the crime scene unit. Would that be right?
Sure. Yes, sir.
Listen, this is the best. Listen. Doors open. Cameras open.
Sir, I stopped at 1:37 and 1:37 a.m. 41 seconds. Where my cursor is, this is a window.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, and those are the windows we saw in the photographs earlier admitted that face the parking lot.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, do you even know the identities of the individuals, if you recall?
I believe before we made entry, we were given information that we were looking for these particular people.
Okay. So it's James and Jennifer Crumbley.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fair to say it wasn't a Detroit Police Department law enforcement investigation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you were given the information that the fugitives could have been there.
Yes, sir.
Once James and Jennifer Crumbley were taken from this location, were they turned over to members of Oakland County?
Turned over to, I believe, our DFAT unit right at the door to this room.
Okay.
And that was that's when we as a team released custody to those.
All right, but that wouldn't have been your function. Would happen with them after.
Right now.
Okay. Now, from the video, it depicts that they were found on a mattress on the floor of this suite. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You have testified that you used a ram to breach a door about 10 or 15 feet away from the entry door to this suite?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that was before that you made entry into this particular room?
That was initially when we first made entry into this building. maybe an hour prior to that.
Okay. And then this arrest occurred after teams, other tactical units, had already searched floors 2 and 3 as well as other rooms in floor 1?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this is after all of those officers were on scene?
Yes, sir.
Now, in your experience in 10 years with special response, you said you've executed, if you could even ballpark, hundreds of arrest warrants. Was that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In your experience, have you caught anyone asleep before?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what was your impression if James and Jennifer Crumbley were asleep or not when you entered the room?
Your Honor, I would object. This calls for speculation. The video speaks for itself, and really the appropriate person to ask is Mrs. Crumbley if she was asleep.
Okay.
Judge, I think the foundation's been laid that he's been on hundreds of these executions.
He hasn't seen Mr. and Mrs. Crumbley sleep 100 times.
Okay, well, I think you can describe exactly what he saw.
Sir,
I mean, if I close my eyes right now, I don't know if you'd know if I'm asleep or not. I mean, I probably am, but, you know.
Go ahead, sir.
But you don't know if someone's asleep just because their eyes are closed.
I'm just asking his impression.
Are his eyes closed? Were their eyes closed? Were they moving or not moving? Like, you know, you can ask those types of questions.
Paint the picture for us what you perceived.
as I made entry, I see two people laying on a mattress. If I'm not mistaken, they're facing each other, not moving, not making a sound.
Okay. And that's after your entire team entered the suite.
Correct.
Okay. And after the door was breached 15 feet away.
Yes, sir.
I have nothing further.
Cross.
Thank you. Good afternoon. In the video, after you guys find the people on the mattress, there's a person that's making yelling noises. Are you aware of who is yelling?
It would be Mr. James Crumbley. Yeah.
And did you see or observe Mrs. Crumbley making any noises?
I did not.
There's a little bit of conversation we hear on the video about eyeglasses,
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
and that was Mrs. Crumbley asking if she could please have her eyeglasses.
Okay.
Is that fair?
To be honest, looking back at it, watching the video, I thought it was Mr. Crumbley saying that was his glasses on the mattress. When I just watched the video, so I may be mistaken.
Okay, I have no further questions. Thank you.
None.
Okay, you can step down and you're excused. The jury's lunch is up here. So unless you have someone super short.